Hey guys, what's up? It's Samantha, and I am back with my first all the way through full memory keeping spread in over 2 years, and I'm very excited to be bringing you guys this video today. So, this is actually the same week that I did the base spread for in my personal planner in my previous video. So, we're just going to start here with memory keeping and go from here, see how this goes. I kept in all of my oops and mistakes in this video. I definitely feel like I'm a little bit rusty when it comes to planning, especially with writing things out. I made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of whiteout, put stickers over things that I was going to leave as kind of like white space areas. So we just are winging it. I definitely have noticed that I'm struggling to make, especially my cursive, look neat again. I feel like there were certain words that I had written so many hundreds, if not thousands of times in the same script that there was just a muscle memory and it always looked right. And I was really good at getting things centered. I just kind of had intuition. That's all out the window. So my muscle memory for how I would do lettering is just gone. So I kept in all of the kind of messy bits here, and I did decide to do this a little differently than how I used to do memory keeping. For a very long time, I was basically only doing no white space planning, but I did a white space spread a couple of weeks ago in my personal planner, and I really loved how it turned out. And I had also kind of been looking back at some of my old planners, just trying to see what I thought might work for me, getting inspiration, seeing what spreads I still really liked, years and years and years later. And I found that the spreads that I liked the most, that made me kind of nostalgic for planning, were white space, which is not what I expected. So we're giving white space a try here. And this kit is a Father's Day kit from Scribble Prints Co. from 2 or 3 years ago. And I used a light gold foil bundle. It's not SPC's regular gold. And honestly, I wish I had done copper. I had already pulled all of my icons for this, and I had pulled icons from the light gold foil bundle. And I went to go pull washi from my wall of washi and quickly realized that all of the washi I had that were these colors all had copper foiling, and this would have looked stunning with copper, but I just didn't have it in me yesterday to go back and try to put all of the light gold foil icons back on that sheet and try to make that fit and then re-pull everything in copper. I don't know. And honestly, I kind of wish that I hadn't done foil on this spread, which again, I know, wild. But I think I liked it better before I actually almost forgot to put the overlays on. You'll see later on, I thought I was done and then realized I hadn't put overlays, and I did put the overlays on. But I kind of think I liked it better without them. I think this would have been stunning with just some little pops of copper foil in washi. And I think if I had done this differently, I would have pulled some thinner washi to kind of use throughout the spread and make it really extra. I definitely want to get into using more washi within my spreads because you guys know I love washi tape. I love creating washi pairings for kits. It's just one of my favorite things. So I think I'm going to definitely be experimenting more with that. For the longest time, I was doing no white space because the inserts didn't have an easy way to section off to do the 3 sections in each vertical day. These are the washis I would have picked, by the way, if I was doing this, or these would have been options for me if I had gone with the copper foil. I really was disappointed when I started going through my washi and found all these perfect washi pairings, but they were all copper foil. So, but yeah, I was doing no white space because that was the easiest way to get the 3 box look, because the bougie box sort of acted as a spacer. But I noticed a couple weeks ago that these new, or at least new to me, Aura Estelle inserts, I don't know when she started doing this, but the columns, like it's not lines, it's little dots. And then where the middle and bottom header would go have a slightly darker dot. And so you can line up the top of the header where the very, very slightly bolder, darker dot is. And then you don't even need a spacer. When I sat down to do my first white space spread a couple weeks ago, I had cut out a box out of sticker paper to use as a spacer, like just the sticker paper backing. And I did that for a couple. And then while I was putting the header down, I realized that one of the dots was darker. And I'm like, wait, what? I don't know when that started, but I just don't know where I've been. If you guys use Aura Estelle inserts, maybe you already know that. I just felt really dumb that I had never noticed that before. So this was obviously the week of Father's Day, and this was a really, really hectic, crazy week for me. We had a lot going on. I was working on my office and all of the new furniture and getting everything organized. And we also had, Joe was gone all weekend because he had a bunch of different Father's Day activities planned, and he was like out golfing and stuff. And we went to the zoo with my sister-in-law and my nephew on Monday, and we had a sort of impromptu play date before the zoo because it was pouring rain, and we live very, very close to the Columbus Zoo, just a few minutes away. So they live farther away, so they were already basically here, and it was pouring rain, so they came over to our house for maybe 45 minutes, and then we went to the zoo just so that we didn't get rained on, and we had a really good time. It's really nice that we live close to so much of our family because we get to see people a lot more frequently without having to drive all over the place. But after the zoo, James was completely zonked. He stayed up way later than he normally would before going down for his nap, and I think he slept for 3.5 hours. He was really, really tired. So got him down, and then while he was napping, I was working on building my desk, the desk I'm actually filming this plan with me on. I love it, by the way. It's a standing desk, so I actually was filming this standing up. It really helped my back pain, and it's made planning a lot more fun. It had gotten to the point where I could only sit and plan for maybe 10 or 15 minutes before I started having excruciating back pain. So the standing desk has definitely fixed that. I was able to stand for a couple of hours and pull the stickers and then film the spread, and I didn't have any issues. And I love having the natural wood backdrop. The old gray tabletop that I was using, I hated the color. I hated how it showed up on video. It looked way darker in video than it did in real life. And it was just reflective enough that there would always be a light spot from the studio lights. And this table is also way deeper, so I'm able to move my studio lights back farther away, and just looking at the footage is so much nicer. There isn't a giant reflective spot off of the overlays. Like all of my videos in the old setup had these huge reflective spots on them that would drive me up the wall, and I tried so many different things to fix the lighting, but apparently I just needed to be able to move the lights farther away, and that solved the problem. So I'm loving my desk setup, but I was very anxious about tearing my entire office apart and trying to figure everything out from scratch this whole week. We went to IKEA a bunch of times. Tuesday, I had therapy in the morning, and then my mom and dad came over. My dad hadn't seen James in, I think, over a month because he had a bunch of business trips back to back to back. And then James and I went and did an IKEA pickup. We had gotten some of the bigger furniture on Sunday with Joe. And then I kind of realized Monday night that my furniture situation was not going to work the way I had envisioned it. Like the furniture I had gotten there, the storage wasn't right. I had a bunch of Alex drawers that I was thinking I was going to hold on to and maybe slide underneath the standing desk or something. I don't know, but it was very apparent to me that that wasn't going to work. So I went to bed on Monday night and then woke up Tuesday with fresh eyes. And I also needed to figure out where I was going to put my printer because I was like, oh, I'll put it on the end of my computer desk. But then it was the first thing you saw when you walked into my office, and it was just really bulky and ugly, and the office was not giving the vibes that I wanted it to give. And I was freaking out that I'd made a terrible mistake and I had just completely dismantled everything for no reason, which that kind of continued into Tuesday night. Joe helped me carry a bunch of the Alex drawers out, and I hadn't gotten any of the pegboards or anything set up yet. And I was really just hoping that it worked and that everything would be okay. But it was just very much a messy middle moment on Tuesday night. I wasn't fully trusting the process yet, but it ended up working out okay. But I was just like emotionally burnt out, which sounds so silly, but I think it's because I had spent so many days getting my office decluttered and organized a couple of weeks earlier. And then I tore the whole thing up again. And I was just really nervous that I'd made a mistake, that the standing desk wasn't going to work, that the pegboards weren't going to work, that everything wouldn't fit the way I was envisioning it was going to fit, even though I'd measured stuff. Yeah, whatever. So then Wednesday, I was exhausted because I barely slept Tuesday night because my brain was just going a million miles an hour. And then we went to visit Joe at work. We'd had that on the calendar for a couple of weeks. He had a coworker who was leaving, and she had never met James. So we went in to go visit his coworkers and his front office staff. And then we came home, and I just used James's nap to relax and recharge. Then we went and did another IKEA pickup on Wednesday because I needed more bits and bobs for my pegboard. And then while we were driving, I actually am driving a Rivian right now. I have a lease. My old car was 15 years old and it was like not safe to drive anymore. And I'd been driving it for over 10 years and it had been my mom's car before that. And so I traded in my old car. I think I got like $1,000 for it, but I'm leasing an R1S right now. So it's been a lot of fun to drive that. I didn't want to buy one until I knew I liked it because they're very expensive cars and they depreciate fairly quickly. So I wanted to kind of do a try before you buy. My husband drives electric and I wanted to try Rivian. So there's definitely some quirks, but things get fixed really quickly and most of it is usually computer stuff. So there was a notification popped up and I called their mobile service, or not mobile service, but their like service phone line. And it was a computer thing. I was able to restart the computer in the IKEA parking lot and it worked just fine. But it tacked on like, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. James was getting really impatient in the car. And then when we were driving home from IKEA, which is maybe like 30, 35 minutes from our house, James had a complete and total meltdown. He normally loves the car, but I think we just did way too much this week and he was in the car a lot more than normal. And I think he was just over it. And I was trying to talk to my brother on my way home because he had just gotten out of work and he was driving home. And James just cried the entire way. I felt so bad, but we came home and we didn't even go inside when I got home. I just took him out of the car. He was actually already wearing his water shoes because he was fighting me on putting on his regular shoes. So I just like put the water shoes on. because those are the easiest ones we have to put on. And I grabbed our bubble machine and put that on and grabbed the hose. I needed to water our plants out front, and I put it on the mist setting, and James just ran back and forth through the hose and grabbed the bubbles, and we just did that for like 45 minutes, and he was much happier, and it was a lot of fun, and it just was exactly what we needed. And I realized Thursday needed to be a day that was all about James and just very chill and relaxed. He's definitely wired more like me, where he needs his downtime, he needs his quiet time, he needs alone time. If he does too much back to back to back, he gets very, let's see, I guess we'll say. So on Thursday, he actually slept in until I think like 8:30 in the morning, which is an hour and a half past when he would normally sleep in. He was just really, really tired. We had a very busy front half of the week. So we just hung out. I played with him on Thursday morning, and I was really intentional about just playing with him and not worrying about getting chores or stuff done while he was awake. We had a very relaxed morning. And then when he went down for his nap, I organized my office. I got my pegboards put up. I moved my corkboard with my pins, did all that, got everything organized. That was very successful. And then, and I didn't even mention, during this whole week, our backyard was being regraded, and we had new sod put down because we were having water drainage issues in the back. We have drains, but the water was moving away from the drains instead of towards the drain. And then the center of our backyard was just a pond. It was really gross, and it killed a bunch of our grass because there was just standing water anytime it rained really hard, and we had a lot of rain this spring. So that was finished on Thursday afternoon. And then Thursday evening, after James went down for bed, I did some serious cable management up here in my office. I noticed that when I walked in, because my monitor is directly in front of the door when you walk in, having all of the computer cords like hanging down the back behind my desk was driving me nuts. And I didn't realize how much that was visually overstimulating me until the rest of my office was completely cleaned up. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to look at those cords anymore. So I spent, like an hour making everything perfect in here. And now you can't see anything, and it's great. So big fan of that. And then Friday morning, I woke up on the earlier side, and James actually slept in a little bit later. So I was able to have my coffee, play some cell phone games, and then come upstairs and play in my planner before James woke up and Joe left for work. So that was really nice. I started getting caught up on the insane amount of laundry that I hadn't done over the last week or so. I really have been trying to give myself grace when I'm working on big projects that have a lot of impact in terms of my overall happiness and life enjoyment. Trying to give myself grace to let go of some of the daily and weekly chores in the short term so that I can focus on getting these huge projects done. And those big projects tend to have a lot of impact in my quality of life. So I let my laundry go for a week, but I had gotten to the point where I didn't have any clean PJs, and I was on we were on our last couple pairs of socks and underwear. So I'm like, okay, I have to do laundry. So I did a lot of laundry Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Friday was also James's first haircut. I got my haircut too, but I only put down that it was James's first haircut because I didn't have room for both. And he did really well. I thought he was going to freak out and be really upset. And he was totally fine. He just let her cut his hair. I could not believe how chill he was, because James does not have a chill bone in his body. But he was just he was happy to be there. He loves my hairstylist, who I've been going to for, I think, 20 years at this point. And it was great. And then Friday evening, my mom came over to our house to watch James, and Joe picked me up on his way home from work. and we went out for drinks with his coworkers to kind of say goodbye to the front office staff person who was leaving. She got accepted into grad school, and so she's moving to a different city. But it was cool to kind of get to know some of Joe's coworkers a little bit better since I basically never see them. But yeah, that was really fun. And then I was just feeling overwhelmed and anxious. Like after we left, I really struggle with super loud restaurants, bars, whatever. And this bar was like really, really loud. And there were ping pong tables and children there. I guess it's open to families before 9 p.m. There's like arcade games and stuff in this bar that we went to. And some kid kept like smacking a ping pong ball against my head. I don't know, I was just so overstimulated and anxious, and like I was just so overwhelmed. But Joe and I like hung out in the car for a little bit and just chilled. And then we picked up Wendy's on the way home because the bar we went to didn't really have food. And I was very hungry. And then Saturday, Joe was gone all day playing golf. So I was with James. We just chilled. We did lots and lots of reading. I think this kid likes books more than I do. We read so much. All he does is bring books to me back to back to back to back. It's like his favorite thing. So honestly, we love it. Sometimes do I get sick of reading the same book for the 15th time in one day? Yes, but like I love that he loves to read. It makes me happy. Did more laundry. I just chilled and I played balloons on my iPad during James's nap. And then James was awoken early from his nap because we started having issues with our smoke detectors going off for no reason. So this had happened a couple of times, maybe a year or a year and a half ago, but then it stopped. And I had blown all of them out with compressed air. And I figured it was dust or a dead bug or something that was making the sensor go off, but they started going off for no reason, and they went off a bunch of times over, like, that was the first time it happened on Saturday, and they went off, I don't know, 4 or 5 times over the next few days. So we ended up calling an electrician, which I'll talk about in my next memory keeping spread. But it woke James up. He was so upset. I mean, he cried all afternoon. It was really like rough, and he was tired because he'd gotten woken up from his nap. When Joe came home from golf, I was like, okay, I need to chill out. Like, here you go. And then Sunday was Father's Day, and Joe obviously slept in, and then he did go meet up with his dad, and they went for a really long trail run at one of the metro parks around here. So I was with James again, and hung out with him, did more reading, did more laundry. When he went down for his nap, I worked on a voiceover for one of my Plan With Me's that I actually don't think I ended up using. I think I recorded it again the next day because I didn't like how it turned out. Something like that, which, again, with relearning how to do everything, I feel off my voiceover game. I just don't remember how I did stuff. I feel it feels weird after so many, months, couple of years of not doing it. I cleaned out James's closet and pulled all of his cold weather clothes that were kind of still like stragglers in his closet that I hadn't pulled out yet, and made sure all of his summer stuff was out and kind of reorganized everything. And then we got Chipotle for dinner, and it was a total flop. Our food, half of the order was wrong, and almost all the food was basically inedible. It was really gross. Like, we've gotten food from that Chipotle dozens of times, and it's never been bad before. So I actually ended up contacting customer service and getting a refund, which I've never done for fast food or a fast casual restaurant before, but it was really gross. Like, we basically just threw it away. And then Joe and I played balloons together. And then the smoke detectors went off again for no reason. And all of the times, except for this one, it was the kitchen one that went off for no reason. Like, no cooking was happening. No like candles burning, whatever. This one, it was one in the basement and woke James up. It was rough. But anyways, this is the finished spread. I really like how it turned out. I'm really vibing with the white space right now. I don't know, it just makes me feel nostalgic for how I used to plan, and I'm kind of enjoying that right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye guys.